Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. Was that a free kick? Was that a free kick is the question on a lot of Celtic fans' minds. Some people are saying, look, it wasn't a free kick. You can see that it was accidental, wasn't it? And was it though? I mean, the guy's got his hand out. The guy knows that Dyson's trying to get the run behind him and he's got his arm up and he takes Dyson out. At the end of the day, he takes Dyson out, so people did VAR never even looked at it. And then what happened is they go up and score a goal. And was it though? I mean, the guy. But we need to get over it, and there's no better way to get over it than seeing big Kasper and his dad having a dad and son moment. Dyson Schmeichel looking rather, terrible, wasn't it? But anyway, no, I want to listen to some fan reactions from last night, because some of the reactions from fans was absolutely unbelievable. The first one up is, let me just do this and listen to this.
Say something positive about Bayern. Okay, fine. Their third kit looks nice. If it's anything, it's a good moment for Alphonso Davies. Just signed a new contract and also got a winning goal to send them through to the round of 16. But it sure as hell didn't match the performance. I mean, Kasper Schmeichel was phenomenal today.
Yep, he was.
I feel so sorry for Celtic because they absolutely deserve so much more from that game.
We
even saw this kind of performance against Leverkusen where they barely even registered anything. And honestly, this is a sign of things to come. Because I remember Company was slipping on the pitch just trying to get the ball back. It was bad, man. Other teams will not be kind to Bayern, though. I mean, on paper, they were one of the best teams in the world. But in reality, the idea is better than the actual reality. It's kind of like how João Felix is, you know what I mean? I can't believe I just wasted so much time on that. I feel so sorry for Celtic. They deserve so much more.
Tell me about it.
The Celtic player was unbelievable. Defensively, as a unit, as an organisation, defensively, so fucking good.
Yeah,
honestly, so fucking good.
Get rid of this fucking German club, bro. Their fans are so shit. I hope they get out, bro. Fucking hell, dude. The Allianz is the worst stadium, the worst atmosphere in all of Europe, bro. I hope they get eliminated.
It is.
Let's go,
To talk about that, the atmosphere was terrible at that stadium last night. I mean, it was terrible, wasn't it? It was a terrible atmosphere at the stadium.
1-0 Celtic, bro. Deserved as well. Let's fucking go.
What is going on? What? Celtic have brought it
The
back.
atmosphere was...
Bayern Munich are heading out of the Champions League. Yabba yabba dabba 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 doo. Say that again. Bayern who?
Bayern who?
They really said Manchester United are a small team. We lost to Bayern Munich League today, and they're also going to be out of the Bundesliga, bro. Because
losing 1-0 at home against Celtic to tie the game. But the question is, will Harry Kane ever win a trophy? Even though not guaranteed to win the Bundesliga, one bad result and Bayern Munich are back in it. But is Harry Kane cursed for real?
Alphonso Davies has scored to make it 3-2 on aggregate to Bayern. 93rd minute. Bro, are you taking a... Hey, Celtic deserved more. Celtic deserved a lot more. They played well in that game and over the weekend. Bro, they deserved a lot more. Alphonso Davies, why? At least win the game in extra time or some shit. 93rd minute heartbreak is something that I did not expect to see tonight, man. Celtic.
It is. It's heartbreak, and that's the only thing that you could say about it. It is complete heartbreak, and it's been interesting watching the media reactions and people talking about it. But
head up high. You guys had a good Champions League run. Unfortunately, it has come to an end here.
Football can be a cruel game. Just when it looked like Celtic was going to take this tie to extra time after scoring away at Bayern Munich, they were 1-0 up in the 94th minute.
94th minute.
All they need to do was hold on. But no, the jammiest goal you will ever see. Carter Vickers clears the ball onto Alphonso Davies' calf and the ball goes in the net. It's absolutely atrocious. And Bayern somehow are in the round of 16. Harry Kane getting injured, got subbed off. I mean, Musiala was quite underwhelming, to be fair. And Bayern Munich are not a good team. I'm sorry, and yes, it's coming from an Arsenal fan who lost to them last season, but I'm telling you, especially this Vincent Kompany side, I said it after they lost to Aston Villa, that I am not impressed. That this is not a side in the big moments where they're going to be that team, in my opinion, this season.
Yeah.
We saw with Leverkusen on the weekend. They had
because in the Champions League this season, he has rode his luck so much
that it will come to a team who's better than Bayern or are a bigger team and they've got better players than Bayern who will outdo them with absolute ease, because he has not convinced me this season in the
Vincent Kompany hasn't convinced them. Did they rode their luck last night? But then we rode their luck last night as well. I mean, Celtic, Kasper made 9 saves, a total of 10 shots, and they made 9 saves. Fantastic saves. I mean, Kasper Schmeichel he is such a good player. And I tell you one thing, his dad must be some height, because Kasper's no a wee lad, is he? But we've woke up this morning, and there's one thing for sure. Brendan Rodgers done something amazing last night. Ian Roy says, I blame Brendan for not bringing on fresh legs towards the end. Hatate and Engels and AJ were spent, only used 2 subs, and they used 4. I think Brendan Rodgers was in the mindset that will make the subs in extra time. It looked as if the game was going to go to extra time. They didn't look as if they were going to score. So Brendan Rodgers needed to keep the subs for extra time. It is what it is. It shows the depth. I mean, who do you bring on at the back? Who do you bring on? Norowski? Ian? It shows. I mean, you bring on Scales. Scales isn't. Do you know? Who do you bring on? It shows that the squad is too thin, and it does show that the squad is too thin. I wonder if McCowan could have made a difference if he'd come on as a sub. Well, that's one thing that we just won't get to know just now, because we are out of the Champions League. I thought the referee was abysmal last night. Gave us nada for the assault on Dyson at the end. Was a disgrace. Let's look at that video again. Let's look at the video of Dyson. So you could see it. I mean, Dyson tries to get the run on the back of the defender, and the ball doesn't even come through. But Dyson's taken out. Dyson doesn't go down. Dyson Maeda doesn't go down if he's not getting. I mean, that's a hand to the face. Is it a foul? I mean, the guy's a big lad. Dyson's not going to go down for no reason. He's not going down for no reason. It's a foul all day long, as far as I'm concerned. People saying it's not a foul. If you get hit in the face, it's a foul. The referee never even looked at it. VAR never looked at it. They got the score. They got the parking score. And that's it at the end of the day. It's hard to take. I'm not going to just pinpoint that one. I'm not going to pinpoint that one situation. I think that Celtic were unlucky last night. We rode our luck. At the same time, they will feel that they could have scored more. They hit the woodwork twice. Nico Kuhn gets it past the keeper. They get it off the line. And the difference is when Dyson Maeda, not Dyson Maeda, when is it? When the tackle comes in from Cameron Carter-Vickers, when the tackle comes in for Cameron Carter-Vickers, he kicks it off the boy's ankle. The chances of that happening are... You can't throw your pieces off a 20-storey flat. That's the chances. And to tell you one thing, a player that I thought was absolutely fantastic last night was Alistair Johnston. I thought Alistair Johnston had he is meant to be at this level. He was fantastic last night. Some of the positioning. And a natural position for the arm, says Williman. A natural position for the arm where it's kind of behind him. Is that a natural position? Like that? His arm's behind him. Don't know, that's not a natural position. Natural position is your arm at your side. I mean, you watch it there. Now, you see his arm goes up. Well, it's kind of at his side, but his arm's up to try and stop Dyson running past him. So, I'm not too sure. It's not a foul. Bayern defender doesn't know why he's there until the last second. Yeah, we've seen them given. We didn't get it, so we move on. Exactly, we take it on the chill and build, says Anglin Ayrshire. It's true. And the one thing that we can take the one thing that we can take from this is that Celtic need to go on and build. Celtic really need to go on and build from this game. Will they do it, and can they do it, is the big thing. Let's get some more of these fans' reactions.
The Champions League. Out of all the Bayern players tonight who played poor, the only guy who got his head held high tonight is this man here, Michael Elise. Like, Michael Elise, he's genuinely Bayern Munich's best player, and the both legs have proved why.
And score. Wanted Bayern gone, man. Celtic, you had one job.
Football is so cruel, man. Celtic were this close to knocking out Bayern Munich.
Tell me
Harry
about it,
Kane
bro.
is going to win a trophy before GTA 6. I hate football, man.
Imagine being one of those Celtic players or Celtic fans in the Allianz Arena tonight, and you've just let in a last-minute equaliser, a very jammy last-minute equaliser for Bayern, and then you hear that. Bayern Munich's goal music.
Should have won. Alphonso Davies, last minute equaliser, sends Bayern Munich through to the next round of the Champions League. It's so unlucky on Celtic because they had so many chances. They went away to Bayern Munich, dominated them, played them off the park, and it's so unfortunate. But Bayern Munich, the big clubs, find a way to win. And that's exactly what Bayern Munich done. And Alphonso Davies, of all people, scored the goal. Goretzka, great save from Schmeichel to deny Goretzka, but Alphonso Davies is there for Bayern Munich.
That is one of the crappiest goals I've ever seen in my life, and to go out to that for Celtic must be absolutely heartbreaking. And this man was 30 seconds away from an extra time, which had Bayern lost it, he would have been trending all over Twitter. But the Harry Kane trophy hunt goes on. And I don't think he was at his brilliant best, and I don't think Bayern Munich...
Who cares? Yeah, there's probably many fans like that last night.
I'm just not seeing anything, which makes you feel like this is Bayern Munich, you know. They, you know, like Bayern Munich of the old, like when they attack you, you feel under pressure. They defend well and
wide the goal. So unfortunate for Celtic. Standout performer was Kasper Schmeichel for me. I mean, he was a brick wall. Commanded the Celtic box brilliantly. If he was going to concede a goal tonight, it was either going to be a moment of brilliance from Bayern or
but it wasn't
misfortune. And the goal is very unlucky, in my opinion. Celtic deserved another half an hour.
But could they have lasted?
Mate, the chances they had in the first half. I know they played well, but gotta show a bit more composure. Nah. What's your thoughts on the game, people? Very unlucky.
Very unlucky. What is your thoughts on the game? My door was filled. It was a head injury. Refs are Freemasons. It's Sean. I don't know where the 4 minutes of injury came from. Now we push on for the 55th title and make it this season a lot sweeter. Exactly. The current Burns reaction last night was expected. Look at the standards where they are. I'm not even going to. You know, I'm not even. I mean, I take it they're laughing at the fact that we get put out of the Champions League in the last minute goal. Can we just remind them that we are going for a treble this season? We've got fantastic amounts of money in the bank and everything's looking rosy in the garden for Celtic. Celtic now are in a position where if we go forward as a club, and it will be a hard summer for Celtic fans, because I still stand by that we will lose one of our stars, maybe two. It wouldn't surprise me if we lost Kuhn and Rio Hatate this summer. Although Brendan Rodgers doesn't want to lose Kuhn, I think losing Kuhn would be a massive, massive mistake. We need to find the next players to come in. Brendan Rodgers has spoke about it, saying that Celtic, as a club, you don't get the chance to build a really good team, which is it's disheartening as a Celtic fan sometimes that we know that we're going to have to sell players on. But if we get into the Champions League every season, and we do this every season, do we really need to sell our best players every second year? Do we have to do that? Can we build, even just for 2 or 3 years, just try and get a run with a team for 3 years at this level, and just add that bit of quality just to get us over that line? Because I'll tell you one thing, if Celtic had played like that, if Celtic had played like that in the earlier games of the Champions League, we wouldn't have been playing Bayern Munich last night. We would have been playing someone else. We would have finished, if we had played like that every game in the Champions League, we would have finished top 8. It's as simple as that. We wouldn't have drawn against Bruges. We wouldn't have drawn in Croatia against Dinamo Zagreb. We would have finished top 8. And that's how close it was. Celtic have goals in them. Brendan Rodgers, I think, and I tell you one thing, we don't miss Kyogo. We don't miss Kyogo at all. I think that Dyson Maeda through the middle was far better than Kyogo. Way far better. And the thing is Dyson Maeda's younger than Kyogo Furuhashi. So, can Celtic build in the summer? That's a long way off. It's not really. It's only a couple of months. I know that. It's to the end of the season. But we've got 55 to go for. The original 55. Not some made-up bot titles 55. We're going for the 55th title as Celtic. And we need to start ramming that down their throat. We need to also talk about the fact that we're going for another treble. Another treble. We could all remember a time where at Celtic it was hard to win trebles, and then in come Martin O'Neill to win Celtic's first treble in what was a lifetime. An absolute lifetime. We got spoiled when Brendan Rodgers came to the club the first time round, and the all dominance that he brought to the game in Scotland and Celtic. Are we on the cusp of Brendan rekindling that dominance in spectacular fashion? Not only producing it in the SPFL and winning trebles, but having a real good go in the Champions League. Having a fantastic go in the Champions League. Being able to stand in the Champions League and know that we're not going to be whipping boys. Know that we're not going to be there for the taking. Celtic Park, once again, is starting to feel like a fortress. It's starting to feel like a fortress. Sorry, I was reading the comment. Let's jump into the comments section. Alex says, look what happened to Ajax. They had a great squad and they were competing and they sold all their assets and look where they are now. Yep. Games like this is why I love and hate football. At the same time, says Jason Lee. Anglo Inertia says, Mikey, both not only two defeats in 10 games. Buying Jeff is a no-brainer for me. Can Celtic afford him? And will he take the reduction in wages? Will Celtic... You're saying buy Jeff, but we've got Kieran Tierney coming back. I would... Can and we don't have to buy him. He's out of contract. He's out of contract. He's out of contract, so we can get him for nothing. But then, where do you utilise him in the team? Is he a replacement? Well, here's a thought: is he a replacement for Rio Hatate? Is he a replacement for Rio Hatate? We've got Kieran Tierney coming in, who can play in the left. Who's going to be our left back? We need someone that can put Jeffrey in midfield. There's a thing. Put him in midfield. Anyway, Kasper looks like he could play another 5 years. Says Jason Lee. Yep. The fact is we played absolutely outstanding last night. Nobody can slag Celtic off for drawing away from home. Ultimately, we went out the Champions League. It was a trip too far. It was a trip too far for this current squad. Brendan Rodgers got absolutely every ounce of blood and sweat and tears at those players last night. And we are also proud of them. Also proud. I don't think that we could have got any more. Could we have got any more? Tatty Sloop. Tatty Sloop. No transfer fee for Sloop. Minimal sign-in fee means we can give him a decent wage. But where do you play him? You're not going to play him on the left back when Kieran Tierney's coming in. And do you rotate those two players? Will he accept that? Can you utilise him in midfield? And I think if we sell Rio Hatate, he could be an improvement in the midfield area. So yeah, Kasper's been some signing. I think that player of the season, who has been the player of the season? Has it been Dyson Maeda for his goal scoring exploits and for what he brings to the team, or has it been Kasper Schmeichel? I think we'll do a vote on that tonight. Who's been your player of the season? So in the comments section after this video, give me some players that you think that should be nominated for player of the season. Is Kasper Schmeichel our player of the season? Because without him, I don't think that we would have done as well in the Champions League. Without him last night, it could have been a cricket score. I just hope that young Sinisalo is watching Kasper Schmeichel and learning off him to become a fantastic player. Because if he can be half the keeper, even 3/4 of the keeper that Kasper Schmeichel is, I think we're going to have a cracking keeper. Kasper is Player of the Year along with Dyson. He deserves some sort of recognition at the end of the season for his performances, says Anglin Ayrshire. Tati Sloop says, we need two left backs. KT injury worries. Sloop showed that he can do the job at left back. But are we going to pay... Is he going to accept a 50% reduction in wages to come to Celtic? Let's be honest. That's the big issue. And maybe he's made, I don't know what age he is, maybe he's made enough money down in England over the years where coming to Celtic and winning things, maybe Brendan Rodgers can convince the player to take that massive drop in wages to come to Celtic. And you never know. You just never know. There's something about the team right now. There's something it's a completely different feel from the team that we had on the way to 9 in a row. When Brendan Rodgers came in, he just steadied the ship, and you know, you've got to take your hat off to Neil Lennon for starting it, for Ronnie Dyler to continue it. Brendan Rodgers coming in, and then Neil Lennon come back to finish the deal for 9 in a row. We've got a completely different feel about Celtic right now. I think that Celtic have finally overcome a hurdle that, although we beat Barcelona back in 2012-2013 season, we always went through periods of not managing to get into the Champions League, you know, not bringing in good enough quality players. I think that Brendan Rodgers coming back has obviously said that the type of player that he wants. The best thing that he did was getting rid of Mark Lawwell when he's sidekick out of the recruitment team. It's now time, and we'll wait and see what happens at the summer, because the last transfer window was really the first transfer window that Brendan got under his feet, where he got the players in that he tried to get players in that he wanted. The summer one was important because we got in players that he wanted. We weren't just going after any old player. This next transfer window will be the window that can change Celtic to a European powerhouse again. A team, and I mean that in all sense, that teams are scared to come to Celtic Park. They know that it's going to be hard to come to Celtic Park. Celtic now have shown the fans and have shown the whole of Europe. That game last night was the only it was the only Champions League game being shown in Spain last night. The whole of Spain, I mean, when I was listening to the commentators, the first half, the Spanish commentators were loving what Celtic were doing. Absolutely loving the way that Celtic were playing. The attack and the speed of the attacks and everything. The Spanish commentators were absolutely loving it. The whole of Europe seen the way that we can play last night, and we were just unfortunate to let in it was a lucky goal. It wasn't even a good goal. It was a deflection. And it's looking good for next season. Brendan Rodgers now needs the backing of the board even more. And the board must see it. The board must see it. If you just spend a little bit more on the quality of player and aim as high as we can. Because we were so close to autumn. Well, we're so close. I mean, the league doesn't show it. I mean, it shows that we're sitting in 21st position in the Champions League during the league phase. But when you look at the results and you look at the way that it ended up, we were so close to being in top 8. And if we can get to top 8 and get that automatic qualification to the last 16, that's what we need to aim for. That's what Brendan Rodgers wants to aim for. It's not getting to this position in the playoffs, because the playoffs are a nightmare. Brendan Rodgers ultimately sees Celtic trying to finish top 8 in the league phase. And I think the new format gives us that, and we should be so proud of it, and we are. We need clones of Jota and Dyson Maeda. The quality on the bench let us down, says Ian. It did, and it shows. It shows where when you look at the amount of players that are out on loan, Stephen Welsh, your Odom Owens, they're not good enough for Celtic. They're not good enough at this level. They're never good enough at this level. We need a strong bench. But with that brings its own problems. With a really strong bench brings its own issues. Stephen Welsh wanted away. Stephen Welsh would have been on the bench last night in Germany, but he wanted away to play regular football. He's been at Celtic long enough. Brendan Rodgers now has to find players that can come in and that we can rotate on an ongoing basis. And we can rotate week to week in the SPFL and still keep the consistency. And I tell you one thing, if we go into the Champions League next season and we play like we did last night, we can do things in the Champions League. We can get to that top 8 position easily. Last night gave us a brand new found belief. When we went to Dortmund, we were dismantled in the first 20 minutes. You know, the fans were delusional about the fact that we were going to go to Dortmund and do something. When we went to Munich, we had nothing to fear. Nothing to lose. Just go for it and play your football. That pressure being taken off Celtic to just go and do their own thing and have a good go. I tell you one thing, it's going to be a fantastic run over the next couple of years if we can keep some of this squad together and Brendan Rodgers. Last night was Munich's 21st game in the Champions League in a row, unbeaten in their stadium. 16 wins and 5 draws. I'm worried about the board cash in on players. And we lose Rodgers. You won't lose Rodgers this season. You won't lose him this season. He still has one more season on his contract. And I think that Brendan will sign a new contract. I think that he will sign a new contract. You've got to look at the things that Brendan's done behind the scenes that didn't happen the last time. He didn't have his own way with the recruitment staff. Brendan Rodgers getting rid of Mark Lawwell was massive. Absolutely, you've no idea the enormity of what that did to Brendan Rodgers as a powerhouse at Celtic. Dermot Desmond's put complete faith in Brendan Rodgers, and he would have had to agree to Lawwell getting the punt. And he would have listened to both sides of the stories for keeping him and for letting him go. And Brendan Rodgers won that battle. Brendan Rodgers getting in, and people will say, well, what has he done so far? He's only been in the job 5 minutes. But Paul Tisdale, the self-proclaimed football doctor, is having to look at the whole football department. Now, we're seeing massive changes going on in the B team. We're losing players left, right and centre from the B team, but we're also looking at a 16-year-old coming in from Belfast. You know, we're looking out with the younger levels of Celtic, but we're looking at players that we can now bring into the B team that ultimately we can keep at the club. The next couple of months, in the next couple of weeks or so, we're going to have the AGM, and it's all going to be backslapping stuff from the board and the usual nonsense. And it's a time to make sure that we keep the pressure on the board to go in the direction that the fans want us to go in. We do not want any of this taking our foot off the pedal. None of this, let's just keep lowering the wage bill a bit and reduce the size of the squad and things like that. No, it's time to, spend a little bit more money on wages, get better players in. We know we can be dominant in Scottish football. We know this. And people will say, that's arrogant. It's arrogant to say that. And it's arrogant to know that you're going to be the dominant side. We've got the management team, we've got the players. We're going through change. There's going to be massive changes at Celtic in the next couple of years. Next couple of years, we're going to lose the like of James Forrest. Fantastic servant for the club. You cannot buy the experience that James Forrest has, that he passes on to players in the dressing room. You can't buy that kind of experience. You can't. I'm sorry. You can't buy that love for Celtic. You can't buy any players that have that emotional tie with Celtic. They can pass that on and tell every player that comes in what it really means to play for this club. You can't buy that for Callum McGregor. We're going to lose him in the next couple of years. We need to start bringing in players, younger Scottish players, that really want to be at the club, ultimately, and want to go on and become legends. Maybe those days are past. Maybe those days are past where, the younger player just wants to go for the cash. But Brendan Rodgers has to find a way and has to find players that want to go on and become living legends. And let's face it, that's what you can do if you become a Celtic player, become living legends. I'm not getting a Karl Mark replacement is more important. It's just like it. Domestic dominance is always priority. It is that. But now, what? I'm live on YouTube. Do you mind? No, I can't go outside. I don't care. Anyway, rattled on a bit this morning. I would love to know who scouted Engels. The boy's a star. Forget the 11 million price tag. He's worth way more than that. He is that. And I think that if we can get more players and the likes of Arne Engels and keep these players together for a few years, it will be something else. We've just earned a minimum of 38 million in performance money. That now needs investing into the team. Ollie Plays gets the last comment of the day. I've got work to go and do. On that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world. Share the video just to get it out there and get it to as many Celtic fans as you can. And I'll be back tonight at 8 PM Celtic Park time. On that note, have a fantastic day wherever you are, Celtic fans all around the world.